Hi, my name is Fred Mann. I live in the South Mountain area of Millburn.
My name is Rob Weiss. I'm one of the co-owners of Chocolate Works.
I'm Jake Lasher. I am the manager of the Millburn Deli.
We've been here about 8 years.
And lived here since 2015.
We moved to this house in Millburn in 2018. We moved here for the schools for our son, who's now 7, and we love it here. Millburn's a great town.
So, with regarding the storm, I didn't really think much about it, I have to admit. I saw there was a letter here. I don't even remember who it was from, but saying if we wanted some sandbags, they had some available, and I kind of laughed to myself. I really didn't know that this could happen.
So on the night of the storm, we did get a flood warning by text message from the, I believe the state or the town, and we had gotten them periodically over the years we've been here. So in our experience, what they meant to us was get off the street because the streets will have flooding. They didn't mean to us your home is going to have flooding, because we hadn't experienced flooding in our home in the 3 or so years we've been here. So yeah, definitely surprised us, and we hadn't done any real preparation in advance of the storm because we just didn't think it was going to come into our house.
Yeah, when we purchased this house back in 2018, our house is put in flood zone, and we did look into that because that requires us to buy flood insurance. And we did look into the problem because if it's really, the house has a big potential of getting flood, we wouldn't really buy it. But after the research, we find it's just like the backyard, a little corner, has a risk of getting flood. And also we heard from neighbors, who has got flood before, said it's nothing serious, little water in the basement.
I was here the night before, here at the Millburn Deli, the night before the storm, and we were anticipating it was going to be really bad. We set up our little flood barriers, and I say little because we got new ones since because of the destruction. But we expected it to be bad. I didn't expect it to be nearly as bad. When it actually hit, I was asleep, and my boss sent me a video of what Millburn Avenue looked like.
We weren't expecting much because there wasn't a lot of warning. And typically you think when a hurricane makes a direct hit on the New York area, then you know you're in trouble. But when it's made landfall in the south and works its way up, they typically don't have a lot of power by the time they reach us. So it really did catch everyone off guard. I was sitting on my couch and watching television and kind of looking at the Weather Channel, thinking maybe I should move a few things, and it just progressed really quickly from that to, wow, we've got a real storm on our hands. So it happened so fast. We were doing everything we could to, I was actually outside making sure my neighbors were okay, because they seemed to be getting the worst of it. Then eventually we started taking water in our basement. And I would say within an hour, our basement was completely flooded, and our first floor was underwater. So it just happened so fast.
As the remnants of Hurricane Ida moved up the East Coast, the deluge was quick. In New York City, more than 3 inches of rain falling in just 1 hour. The downpour submerging cars in this Bronx expressway. Floodwater spewing into subway stations. More than 800 passengers had to be rescued. This morning, the devastation of Hurricane Ida becoming more clear. The storm leaving at least 59 people dead across 8 states. More than a foot of water falling in some areas. Catastrophic flooding, turning roads into rivers in Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. And hundreds of water rescues prompted along the East Coast.
I had no idea what was going on in Millburn at the time. And I happened to look at my phone. It might have been 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a really long night for all of us. And I had over 100 texts from people, basically telling me what was going on. And right then I kind of knew the store was gone.
The real destruction was in our basement. So you walk downstairs and you just saw, my son, every toy he had was down there and it was destroyed. My home office was down there, everything was destroyed. You know, we had shelves that were attached to the walls that were ripped off, and you know, just complete devastation.
The basement had been flooded all the way to the top, above the ceiling tiles, which are about 10 feet up, all the way up to the top, almost to the floor that's in here. That's roughly 11 feet, and the water was still there. It didn't go anywhere. So we thought the sump pump was draining it all night. I mean, we knew there was a lot of water, but we thought the sump pump was draining it all night, but it didn't go anywhere.
The water was gone on this level when I got here in the morning, but it was probably like 1.5 to 2 inches of sand and dirt was everywhere, outside, inside. The basement was still filled with water. The basement had water probably for like 3 days. I just was very overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. Everybody says, call your insurance. We called insurance. After that, people tell you to take pictures. We were taking pictures of just rubble. It was a mess. At this point, the basement was still filled with water. The truth is, I was just overwhelmed and didn't know what to do.
My first thought it reminded me of one of those apocalypse movies, like I Am Legend or something like that. It was weird seeing in the middle of the day Millburn looking like it did. But it was also amazing seeing all the kids and students like who took the time out of their day with garbage bags and brooms and shovels and gloves and all that stuff. It was cool to see the community come together, but it was really like I hadn't seen like a disaster zone like that in a really long time.
After the water got to a certain point, we're not really sure where, but we could see it from up here. And we realized we couldn't go back down safely to clear any more stuff. The fire alarm started going off. And when the fire alarm started going off, it woke up our son, and we weren't sure if there was a fire or not. You know, there's no way to tell. We can't get into the flooded area safely, so we just have to, go by sight and by smell. We did smell a little gas, so we called the fire department. And the fire department came. The first time they came, they drove on a construction vehicle, and they came through our yard on the construction vehicle from down the road, and they were able to dig into the water to get to the off valve and turn off the gas from the outside. Although if it weren't for that, we would have had to evacuate. They also came in and turned off the fire alarm, but unfortunately half an hour later it went off again, and it went off all night until 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
The first few days were just, it was like a pure panic almost. I mean, you don't really have a playbook for how do I do this. So sort of every morning we just go outside and, okay, what are we all going to do next? I mean, the great thing about it was the fire department was there, and the fire department was amazing. They were fantastic, and they'd seen all this before, so they were really helpful. And so it was sort of like every day, you were just planning. What's the next step? What do we do today? What do we do today? And so that went on for a good 3 weeks of just pure, damage control. And then over time, things kind of stabilize, and first 2-3 weeks were just, disaster control, I guess.
We reopened a little less than a week after. The days were long and hard and dirty. It was all of us getting here at 7 in the morning, cleaning up, moving stuff, drying stuff, washing stuff, deep cleaning everything, trying to dry all the water, and trying to save as much of our equipment and inventory as we could, and then getting set up to reopen. And then it was business as usual, like nothing happened after that, at least for us. We got pretty lucky.
Totally amazing how the community self-started this whole help thing and did tremendous work from day one. Like when we were at a loss and so sad, so frustrated, don't know what to do, the volunteers, they came from different community, including the Chinese community, Indian community, and other, is neighbors, self-started the help. It's amazing, and we are just so amazed by them and so grateful, and we're this shows we moved to the right place. Even we have experienced the disaster, but look at how people are helping each other. It's really, really like so amazing, and we're so grateful for all those people.
You know, we're blessed because there was just an army of volunteers to help us, and people brought us food and clothing. You know, I lost all of my clothes, at least all my like sort of daily clothes. I lost all of them. So I was, you know, one of our neighbors went to Target and bought me, you know, a few outfits, and that's what I wore.
As far as, you know, where we are in our four walls, it's not, you know, we didn't have to spend a lot of money structurally or anything like that. We didn't get hit hard in that respect. Once we got our inventory back, when the lights turned on and we had to replace a couple hot water heaters, stuff like that. But no, it's been business as usual ever since.
Everything just takes a long time to reopen. It just took a long time to get everything out of here. It took a long time to even just kind of figure out what we were supposed to do next. Everything is so expensive. It is so hard to get people to work right now. So even trying to line up people to paint and do things, just trying to find people to do some of the things we need done is very difficult right now. But, you know, we'll get through it. You know, we're missing our main season, which is December, is like gift-giving season. So the fact that we're not here for that is kind of what hurts, you know, what hurts a lot.
You know, get the work done first, and so as soon as possible we can get our life back to normal, especially, you know, our son going to school, even he's little. I really want him to be able to keep up his routine. And that's very important, is the continue and the routine, the normal feel of the life to us is more important than the financial loss, because financially we can always, you know, make up for it later. We keep on working, we can like fix things. You know, we lose something, we can buy things, but the life that's getting interrupted is really, really hard.
So we took several steps to mitigate the next flood. It's not that we think that it's impossible for water to come again. It's just next time we'll be more prepared to make sure the damages are less. I think you live with a certain amount of risk, and we love our community. We don't intend to leave until our son's out of high school. And again, we weren't experiencing infiltration on ordinary storms. This was hopefully a rare storm. It was certainly something we had never seen in our lifetimes. I mean, the water outside was 3.5 feet high. So yes, it could happen again, but we're not planning to leave.
It's obviously hard to you know, just be displaced. You're in your home, but you're not really. You know, there's no place to, you know, you can't sit on the couch and watch TV. You can't, you know, do a lot of the things that you're just used to doing. So you're not really in your house. So there's just that sense of, you know, loss, or it's just, you know, you're not comfortable. You know, your home is where you come and you relax and you're comfortable, and you don't have that. So that absence is very, you know, it's very unsettling. We're going to rebuild it, and you know, it'll be fine. I think our concern is more longer term. You know, we had some idea that there was flooding. We didn't know the extent of the flooding. We didn't know the history of the flooding. So now our concern is, you know, we don't want to go through this again, and we don't want anyone else to go through it. So we, you know, are not likely to stay very long in our home. I mean, you know, a year, 2 years, whatever. I mean, we don't want to live here for the long term. We love Millburn, we love South Mountain, but the idea of going through this again, or anybody else for that matter going through this again, it's not something we can, you know, live with.